Hi everybody, it's Justin with Epic Game Time, and I'm bringing you another deck tech, and this one is really fun. This is a deck I have been streaming for a couple days, and there's been a lot of interest in it. It's done decently well at competitive leagues. We just 3-2'd one today, and both of those losses felt more RNG than us just being out of the game. We were, importantly, able to beat Marvel. We were able to beat Marvel consistently, and that, when you're looking at a deck to play for Standard right now, is key. So let's go over the deck and I'll show you what I mean. First, let's talk about the lands as always. Hit up this preview panel wherever it may have gone. Whoa, that's not what we wanted. Bam, there we are. No, calm down. It's gone, rip. Okay, so we have a Blighted Fen. I'm going to give this one more shot. Bam, there we go. Alright, so we have a Blighted Fen. And this is actually an important land for us. So when your opponent hits Ulamog or hits a creature that's particularly irritating to deal with, Blighted Fen's really good at dealing with said creature. I have killed Ormondal with Blighted Fen. We've killed Ulamogs with Blighted Fen. It's just a really good one of land to have in your deck. We have 4 Concealed Courtyards, 4 Evolving Wilds. The reason we have 4 Evolving Wilds is we care about Delirium in this deck. We care about Delirium a lot, so we want to hit it. Normally, if we didn't care about Delirium and that wasn't a thing, we wouldn't use Evolving Wilds. But because we do, it's just great. 4 of, make sure we hit the lands we want to hit. So yeah, Gear Reach Sanatorium. This is strictly just some draw. We are a black-white control deck at its very heart, so draw tends to be an issue for us. We don't have Glimmer of Genius, we don't have all the draw that blue has, so we have to make draw. And Gear Reach Sanatorium, as a one-of, will do that for us at some times. We have our 5 planes, 4 Shambling Vents. Shambling Vents is just a really nice creature land. It can rumble with a lot of humans, zombies, and it's great life gain as well. So when we're controlling the board and we have a handful of removal, we are taking creatures off, we can just fire up the Shambling Vent and swing in. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 swamps. 25 lands altogether. So that is our land base. What's the rest of the deck look like? We have our Suite of Removal, which is 4 Fatal Push, 4 Grasp of Darkness, 2 Immolating Glare, and 2 Anguished Unmaking. Right along with 3 Cast Out. Topped off with Descend Upon the Sinful, and this one, let's go ahead and bring that forward. Descend Upon the Sinful, exile all creatures. If you have Delirium, you can make a 4/4 Flying Angel token after everything's been exiled. That is amazing. As a control deck, that's really what we want. Reset the board, threat. So, that is our removal suite. Our Fatal Push is really good to just get that Long Tusk Cub out of the way, and many other creatures. Grasp of Darkness kills gods, which is very important in this format, and Immolating Glare is something a lot of people aren't expecting, especially against Black-Green Snake, like Black-Green Stricter decks. When those creatures get so big, they swing in, Immolating Glare, they're dead. Anguish Unmaking is just great against everything. Helps us with Marvel, helps us with Mardu, helps us kill vehicles, helps us kill creatures, helps us kill Cast Out. Cast Out is becoming more prevalent, so an Anguish Unmaking on a Cast Out is really good. Then, of course, we have our own Cast Outs, which again, these are kind of our catch-alls. The last bit of removal I like to call is Walking Ballista. We have 4 of them. Why do we have 4? Well, Delirium is important in our deck. We've already established that, and what's better than at getting Delirium than Walking Ballista? It counts as 2 all by its one sum. Also, it's really good at blocking creatures, getting rid of creatures, and ending the game if they just let it sit on the board. Let's see, and that is our removal suite. So let's look at some of the 1-0s before we get to the engine of the deck. We have 1 Kalitas. Kalitas, as you know, this 3/4 lifelink. Whenever a creature dies on our opponent's side of the field, it creates a 2/2 zombie. We can sack a zombie to give Kalitas 2 +1/+1 counters. That's huge. Kalitas is, if we untap with Kalitas, we already run all this removal. Definitely Definitely looks good for us to win the game. Let's see, we have a Sky Sovereign console flagship. That's a really awesome card in the sense that it's a big ass vehicle, 6'5", flyer, and it deals 3 damage when it comes down. And we have a really good engine to crew it, which we'll be going over in just a second. We have our Planeswalker suite, and this I think is really important. Black-white control, we're not running that many creatures, so we can't always rely on creatures to get the game over for us. So sometimes we need to rely on our Planeswalker ults or our Planeswalker abilities to seal the game up and close it out. Well, which ones do we have? Liliana Death's Majesty, great for helping get Delirium with that +1, which creates a 2/2 black zombie creature token. Put the top 2 cards of your library into your graveyard. So it's great at getting Delirium. If we hit one of our Kalidases, we can use the -3 ability and put it into play. Of course, -7, destroy all non-zombies. That's fine. It's not the best. I've never really used it, but it's there. Then we have Omnixilis, and this is another Planeswalker at 5. Draw a card, awesome. We're a control deck. We love card draw. -3, destroy target creature, so it functions as another removal as well. And -8, this closes games out. Target opponent gets an emblem that says whenever a player draws a card, they lose 2 life. Not take 2 damage, lose 2 life. So when they draw a card, lose 2 life. Once Omnixilis ults, that usually is game over. I don't know anyone. I have not seen any game, and I've not personally played any game where I've ulted with an Omnixilis and lost. Then we have Sorin, Grim Nemesis. This is our best Planeswalker. So good, we have one in the sideboard as well. Reveal the top card of your library and put that card into your hand. Each opponent loses life equal to converted mana cost. Well, as you can see, we have a bunch of 5s, we have 6s, we have 4s, and even 3s. There have been many games where I've resolved Sorin and just ticked Sorin up and eventually killed my opponent with just straight up damage. The -X is great removal and life gain to swing games back in our favor against aggro decks. And the -9, while it is really good, I haven't really used it that much, but it is there in case you get there. Create a number of 1/1 black Vampire Knight creature tokens with lifelink equal to the highest life total among all players. I've used it once. I don't know. It's good, but the +1 and minus ability is really where Sorin shines. Now let's talk about the engine. First, we have Lost Legacy. Choose an artifact, non-land card. Choose a non-artifact, non-land card name. Search target player's graveyard, hand, and library for any number of cards with that name and exile them. That player shuffles his or her library, then draws a card for each exiled from hand that way. So we can go into our opponent's deck and pick their deck apart. Are they playing Marvel? Well, we run 4 main board cards that I can play on turn 3, go into my opponent's deck, and take all their Ulamog's. My opponent playing Marduk Vehicles? Well, as long as they're not putting that much pressure on us, we can turn 3, go get their Heart of Kyrans, go get their Gideons. Or not Heart of Kyrans, but their Gideons. So yeah, we can do all that. But we're not aiming at our opponent all the time with this. Actually, in most games, we're going to, on turn 3, tap out, play Lost Legacy, and aim at ourselves. Well, what are you exiling out of your library, hand, or graveyard, Justin? I'm glad you asked. Eternal Scourge. When you may cast Eternal Scourge from exile. When Eternal Scourge becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, exile Eternal Scourge. It's 3/3 for 3. So what we do, target ourselves with Lost Legacy on turn 3 or 4, go exile all of the Eternal Scourges out of our deck, hand, and library, and they just sit in exile. We can play them from exile. So now we have 4 3/3s that we can play whenever we need them. And they keep bouncing if our opponent tries to remove them. So they're virtually removal proof. Fumigate, Descend, Sweltering Suns can hit it. Board Wipe can hit it. But anything else, if your opponent aims at it, it's bouncing back to exile to be played again. And that also works with Descend Upon the Sinful. Descend Upon the Sinful exiles. Well, that's good. We can play it from exile. So it kind of works out really well. that it is a reoccurring, hard to deal with threat. And I know most control decks, if we were able to resolve a Lost Legacy early, it's so hard for control decks to come back from it. So this is the main board. Let's go to sideboard real quick. Sideboard, Fumigate. Just something to help with board wipe if we're playing against zombies or humans. Forward, Transgress the Mind, because let's be honest, we can't always hit Lost Legacy every turn. So we put 4 Transgress the Minds against Marvel to just get Marvel or Ulamog out of their hand if it so happens to be there. Also, if we go up against a deck with a creature that's particularly hard to deal with, that or a creature or spell, something like that, it's particularly hard to deal with, Transgress is great for that. Dispossess, artifact out of the deck. It's Lost Legacy for artifacts. You choose an artifact name, search your opponent's graveyard, hand, library, and then exile them. Well, that's strictly for Marvel. To the Slaughter, great against creatures, great against planeswalkers, and our deck's pretty good at getting Delirium, so the Delirium clause here does matter. Flaying Tendrils is great against humans and zombies. Ruinous Path, destroy target creature or planeswalker. So control decks, because we don't want many creatures and we don't put a lot of early pressure on, one of the things most control decks tend to have problems with is planeswalkers. Well, we have a sideboard that helps us beat planeswalkers. Plus, if games go long enough, that Awaken is not nothing. And we have a third Sorin for control decks because of Resolve Sorin is really hard to deal with. Alright, well, that is Black-White, what did I call this? Eternal Legacy. I hope you all have liked this, and if you have any comments about it, any changes you might make, or hey, if you take this to Friday Night Magic and you want to tell me about it, leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear about it. If you'd like the video, hit like, subscribe, throw a subscribe my way, that'd be awesome. And thank you all for taking the time watching the video and hanging out with me. My name's Justin for Epic Game Time. You all have been my epic viewers. I hope you all do something epic today. See ya.